Ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna need one of these for this one. So is Glock dead? Well, not really, not yet. We don't know what's gonna happen. I'm sure you've already seen so many YouTube videos about this topic. Here I am, ready to go. I'm not gonna let a good tragedy go to waste. But with Glock undergoing perhaps their biggest shift in being kings of the handgun industry, we're gonna talk about what's happening factually, what we know so far, and then what do I think is gonna happen, what am I gonna be doing to potentially help inform maybe a decision that you guys want to come to. So obviously get the big thing out of the room. Well, I guess it's kind of the only thing in the room with this video topic, but the major rumor of Glock discontinuing all of their lines except for the slim line. That's pretty much happening here. So, okay, three kind of big reasons behind why this major shift, why now, and why the V series, or the Gen V, whatever you want to call it. I guess Gen V is already copywritten. That's an Amazon Prime show spinoff of the Boys series. So, all right, so these reasons would be legal and regulatory pressure, portfolio simplification. I'm 6 beers in. No, I'm just kidding. This is the first beer I cracked open tonight. And a changing market demand, a shift, and accessory compatibility, new standards, kind of innovation driving things. Obviously, legal and regulatory. I mean, California just got finished putting their ban forward for Glocks because of the Glock switch. Compatibility, the ability to make your Glock fully auto. Certainly an aspect, certainly a reason why now they're doing it. I don't know if these plans have been kind of in lockup for a while, if Series V designs have been sat on for a while, but I think the impetus in terms of why we're seeing it right now is certainly in this category. Portfolio simplification would be, they have so many random guns, so many different names for the same exact gun. The numbers nomenclature don't necessarily make all that sense. Now, I'm not saying SIG's naming conventions are any better or less confusing. I think Glock is trying to parse down on their stuff, make it better and make it fewer so that there's more time, resources to put into a more select range of weapons. And then third, market changing, patents are blown, so companies are making better Glocks for cheaper, cooler Glocks for more money, but they offer many, many more features. And with Glock, unless you're getting used, which sure, cheaper, more stripped down, which I would argue that the current OEM Glock is just a more expensive stripped down version of what other companies are doing. So sure, that exists, but there's no premium platform that you can kind of buy into. They're seeing that there's obviously appetite for that. Even within lines, you got a performance series weapons, you got Shadow Systems doing their bare bones weapons. Kimber's out here doing it with their CDS9. They offered a CDS9 Classic. So I think Glock is starting to realize there's more ways to kind of skin the cat in terms of the lineup that they're offering. The innovation that they're driving as well comes with that. This third reason is really what I'm hoping, and really what I personally am needing Glock to do in order for me to even like think about them in the future. And I'll get into that more. Okay, so not exhaustive list of the guns that are just being flat out discontinued. Looking at, and I think it's the end of this year. Glock 17, Gen 4, Gen 5. Glock 19, Gen 4, Gen 5. Gen 3s are already not being made anymore. G22, G30, 31, 32, 34, 35, etc. across the 3, 4, and some of them 5 platforms. Again, the only range that is actually safe for now is the 43, 43X, 48. And so what's going to replace it? You guys have heard, it's the V series. This too is aiming to be released towards the end of the year, 2025. And the major kind of talked about goal right now is just for this model to address those switch conversions and to perhaps mitigate it. Now, there is no sign of an MOS model being the first to hit the market. So perhaps what they've been doing here is just you can't access the slide from the top. Therefore, being able to add, subtract, multiply, divide parts to aid in doing a switch conversion, which would really suck because optics are the move. They're the thing, they're not even the future, they're the now. That is what the standard is. And that would be really a big loophole in terms of disabling users to internally convert devices because you're just covering it up. That you're not changing the internals. So hopefully it's not that. Some concerns, some major concerns that are very valid are current accessories, triggers, and even just basic parts might not be cross-compatible. So that would be a major turnoff. Magazines potentially being one concern. And that is Glock's biggest strength. Outside of dead stupid reliability, I think many other companies and platforms have caught up with them in that regard, if not surpassed in some cases. But Glocks being everywhere, the parts being everywhere, the magazines being everywhere, the holsters being everywhere, so obviously holster compatibility has to remain. That is one of their, if not their biggest strength. And if they get rid of that aspect, I think they're going to be in a world of hurt. Pricing's looking to be the same as the Gen 5 models, which is not great. I wouldn't pay that for a Glock, especially with the bone stock features you're getting out of like the Gen 5 platform. So like for me, even if they hadn't done this, I'd never buy a new Glock. I would just get used. So I may be biased because I already think that a Glock is not necessarily worth the new sticker price that you're paying for it, but that's kind of my mentality with a lot of things. It's how I view cars. It's how I view a lot of other guns. Now, of course, I am willing to pay, you know, upwards of $1,000, past $1,000 for like a Kimber and things like that, but I think you're getting something a little bit different there. Okay, and then kind of bringing it full circle, is Glock dead? And I'm gonna say no, I'm gonna say not yet, but I think all eyes are on them, and what they do moving forward in the near future is gonna be really impactful. And before we dive into that, I just wanna thank some supporters of the channel. I'm gonna try and talk really fast, do a speed round of this, but as you guys know, this isn't my full-time thing, I don't get paid, so supporting me here these ways is really huge. You guys are probably used to the DK Mags spiel by now, but the big new news, even if you're not local, use code TKM5. That'll save you 5% off site-wide, including pew-pews. So that's pretty huge. Only caveat is that you're gonna have to do transfers if you're not local to FFL, but ammunition will not ship straight to your door. So that's kind of the only thing there. If you are looking for ammunition, go ahead and hit up Buffalo Creek Ammunition. Use my code TKM10 for 10% off. That way you can get some ammo shipped straight to your door. The selections are far fewer than that of DK Mags, but they got great offerings in a few solid calibers. Additionally, Eberl Stock, they're a great support of the channel. TKM 15 saves you 15% off, but if you want to wait, they're going to do a couple of sales for the holidays, giving you like upwards of 25% off, I think just site-wide, and then a lot of different things like bags, packs, clothing. You're going to be able to score some bigger deals on those. So here are the dates for those 2 sales that they're doing. I'm not going to get any kickbacks for that, but you cannot stack the codes with my code or the Christmas savings, so you're just going to have to go with those holiday savings if you want to get more savings. These codes and more can be found in the description. I have a little like Linktree-esque page that you can click on in the description and start shopping. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. All right, ad read is over. Now, as I said, kind of the future is going to matter a lot here. I think Glock is going to, just regardless of what happens, they're going to see the Toyota effect. So I own a 1992 80 Series Land Cruiser, and those platforms are going for more money, especially considering their age, the mileage, all that kind of stuff, parts availability, but the prices remain high. And I think that's going to be the same thing there. My appetite for those platforms, those older Toyotas, is sky high, and I just drool over them. And I would not trade in that car for any of the newer Toyotas that they offer right now. Maybe the Lexus GX 550. I'm wondering if that's going to be a similar fate for Glock. And I think what they do next is going to make a big difference there. For me personally, to consider Glock, to honestly just get them on the channel, whether I buy them or just get them in for review, whatever it looks like, I'm going to need to see some things. This V series cannot just be no Glock switch capable and that's it. I'm going to be so mad if they do that, if they just absolutely mail it in and say, fuck, we're Glock, people are gonna buy our guns, so we don't have to change a thing except comply with anti-2A laws. That would piss me off. So I'm going to need to see them make marketable upgrades. Some examples here. Throwing the Glock performance trigger in all of their guns, or at least expanding them to have like a performance center version, whatever Glock would call that, of their guns. Maybe in that, I'm gonna need to see some better grip texture, for sure. I'd love to see the frame not serialized, maybe like a fire control group. I think that would just be catching up with what's current. Obviously, we're gonna need to see the same levels of safety, drop safety, reliability, that cannot decrease 1 iota. Otherwise, they would really be like Toyota these days. I'm gonna need to see some porting options, because I'm a porting snob, and I love ports. That might not be as important, and I think that could be like a later down the road implementation. Sure, whatever, that's fine. I'll let that one go. In the magazine department, they're gonna need to be compatible, But even going above and beyond that, kind of doing something like what Staccato, or well, I guess Staccato doesn't make the magazines, but what they did with their platform, where a Glock 17 sized mag can hold one more round, I think it is. So whether that's a Glock 19 holding 16 rounds, 17 rounds in the same size magazine, just with better engineering, better materials, maybe moving to a metal mag, squeezing more capacity out of those, and then just reflecting that for whatever size stick you're looking at. I'm just spitballing here. Better iron sights, usable iron sights. I don't want disposable iron sights on my gun. And then sure, okay, maybe you're not going to start with the MOS line. That's fine. That's fine. But just kill the MOS line. Like just offer all of your guns with an optic cut that's better than the MOS, because the MOS cut isn't my favorite by really any stretch. So yeah, maybe license agency arms for an AOS plate system. I don't know. Additionally, I think with ergonomics, they're going to need to give us something a little bit more. Now, I don't want to put my gun modifying brothers out of business, especially like Charles over at Battle Ready Arms. He always does up my Glocks perfect, which is why I don't have any Glocks to show you guys, because I sold the 48. But I also have my 19C out to him. He's doing some serious magic on that. And I'm excited to see it, but I'm even more excited now that I know the value of it is going to increase because of that classic Toyota effect. But I think that innovation just drives more innovation. So if they make their guns better out of the factory, making them more competitive with other manufacturers these days, giving them more accoutrement, more capability, I think the aftermarket companies are also going to kind of keep up pace and make sure that they're going above and beyond to give those guns more soul. Or I would argue, give them a soul in the first place, because I don't think Glocks have any soul whatsoever. I don't think striker fired guns really do. I'm of the camp that in order for a gun to have soul, it has to be hammer fired. Of all of those things, and that's not an exhaustive list of like what you can do to a handgun to make it a little bit better, I'm gonna need to see at least 3 of those things on the gun. I would say that's a safe amount of improvements to where I can even be like, okay, despite them doing this, coincidentally, when the government is some governments in certain states are starting to crack down, despite that they're just cowing and kind of being reactive here, it was worth it because X, Y, Z. They did this, they added these things. And now sure, there are the guys who are they're gonna buy whatever Glock puts out. If Glock made a home defense vacuum cleaner, they would buy it. But I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the guys who care about performance, who care about usability, who want to leverage the best tool that they can have, kind of for the money, of course, to defend themselves and their family. What do you guys think about this? I'm sure we're going to get a lot more news in the days, weeks, months to come. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if I did miss anything, if my information's no longer up to date, please correct me. So thanks guys for stopping by. Thanks for trusting me with your time and your ears. I love you. I hope you stay safe out there. God bless you and your families. And remember to continue to live a life worth defending. We will see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.